Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Awkward People podcast.
What's up,
I'm Priscilla, and this is,
Alex?
and we're just gonna check in today.
How are you?
I'm my stomach's growling for one.
Bubble guts?
Bubble guts. I had Jamba Juice, like a liter of Jamba Juice before this thing started, which now I'm thinking is not a good idea.
Whoops.
Mm, exactly. How are you?
I'm all right. I worked. I worked earlier. Did a lot of driving, so my sciatica's acting up, which is always fun.
Old people
Yep.
activities.
Is this what it's like to enter your 30s, Solomon?
I'm 25. Why are you asking me?
Well, damn, you look great for 25.
Yes, I do.
Oh man. Yeah. Worked, and then it's cool. Yeah, I like. So I work for a music company. We deliver music equipment,
hmm
and so today we had to drop off a bunch of music gear. It was like drums and guitars and basses and keyboards to an auditorium in all the way in Riverside. So it took like an hour and 13 minutes to get there. Did the drop off, which was the easiest part. Took a lunch, which was like 45 minutes, and then drove 2 hours back to Hollywood. And that was the whole day. By the time we got back, it was like, all right, time to go home.
That's exhausting.
Yeah, but I love days like that though.
You do?
I
Because when
do.
you come home, you come to work and you're like, go home.
And then the day's done. It's like, all right, time to go. Nothing else.
That's how I feel like when I work out of site for work too. Because sometimes, like through the coffee place I work at, I don't know if I can say their name, we'll do community events. And I always like to say the community events longer. And people probably think, oh, what a big heart. I'm like, no, I just don't want to be in the store. I'm like, being in the store feels like jail. I can't be here anymore. You know how like people get, what's it called when you're like locked up for too long?
Cabin fever.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
At work. I'm like, I can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
Like anybody that comes through pisses me off. They'll breathe and I'll be like, I hate them. I'm all like, I don't
Like,
want
oh, you said no caffeine in your coffee?
You said more shots? Did you say blonde? I'll wake your ass up. I know, I'm just
I
kidding.
think you just gave away your major coffee retailer that you work for.
Perhaps. As long as I don't say the name.
Let's just say every coffee there is $5 and up.
That's like every coffee spot though.
I know. Exactly. Keep it general.
Yeah. Today I actually volunteered in the morning.
What'd you do?
It was a food drive. And it was also a car show because it's East LA. And so I got
Very
to look
common.
at all the classic cars. And some of the cholos were like, you want to sit in my car? And I was like, no, you might drive away with me in it. I can't trust you. I looked really good today. Like, I look like hipster Winnie the Pooh right now. But
From East LA.
yeah, but earlier my hair was down. It was curly and not the crunchy kind because I'm not that type of chola. And
So you admit you are a type of chola, just not that
I
type
think
of chola.
I'm like a subtype of chola.
Really?
I think I am. I was looking at how I dressed today and I was all like, that's kind of gangster.
But like an indie chola.
Like an indie chola.
Like a chola who listens to like rock.
Yeah, like she discovered of Monsters of Men one day in her bedroom. And now she speaks in cursive.
She's like, damn, I like that white people shit.
Yeah. I started liking white people shit when I moved to Downey. Because before then, it was all rock en español.
Home of the Güeros.
Yeah, and then I started listening to like, what's it called? Rage Against the Machine. I started listening to The Killers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was weird. It was kind of weird because I couldn't even speak English, but I was listening to that. I think that's the weirdest part of it all.
You're like, a smile like you mean it.
Yeah, broken English, but that's what I had. It's funny because me and my sister were talking about this the other day, and I was like, I learned to speak English with a lot of like random music. Like, what's that song? The My Neck, My Back song?
Yeah.
That was one of the first songs I learned in English. I was 7.
That song did not come out that long ago. That song is fairly new.
My Neck, no, it's not. It's
Do
not
you
new.
think do you think that's
I can look it up.
I thought that came out like 5 years ago.
No, that
What?
song is old.
Really?
Yeah.
Then how come it's just like, is it making a comeback?
Maybe you were listening to a recording, not the live radio or something.
Maybe.
Like,
when did that
that
come
song
out?
is old.
My neck, my back, my Tukey and my crack.
Yes, that one.
What? I know.
2000. It was a video from 2014. So
Oh, okay. We'll see.
They re-recorded it, but it's not from 2014.
you're saying it's even older.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I call BS.
Well, let's see. Let's put this on the screen here.
2002.
Oh shit. Okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
What? How come I've?
Yeah, fact check me again. Fact check me again. He does this a lot, guys. I'll tell him something and then he Googles it. And I know it's like, I know, don't believe everything you hear, but it drives me crazy.
I think that's the white guy in me.
Leave that white guy at home.
Always fact checking stuff.
I hate being fact checked. It makes me unreasonably angry. I'm like, oh.
So you did. So wait. So what did you do for the activity today?
Oh, the activity. So all we did was hand out like free passion teas and cold brew.
Mm-hmm.
And people were so scared to come up because they thought they had to pay. I'm like, it's a food drive, ma'am. You don't have to pay.
It's free.
But they're like, oh, dude, they're like, how much is it? And I was like, nothing.
What do I have to
Take
give
it.
you?
I said, take it so I
free.
can go home. Take it, please.
How long was the event?
It was like 4 hours, but
Okay, that's not bad.
but it was just like annoying because they put us outside and not inside the booth, inside the like event. So we were
Mhm.
right outside the door. And they're like, oh, come in and get like free food for like the vendors or the people with the booths. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so they were giving out burgers and hot dogs. And this lady, I was like, oh, I'll take a burger. And she goes, I'm sorry. The burgers are only for the men.
Oh,
And I went, what?
what?
I was like, is there a reason? She's like, no, there's just for the men. And I was like, well, and then she hands me a hot dog and I said, well, I don't want a hot dog. They're disgusting. And then she's like, fine, you can have a burger. I'm like, oh, so you can give me a burger.
I don't get it. There was a rule she was following?
So,
Did they tell her not to?
Apparently, it was because it was a Father's Day event. They get the burgers. But that sounds stupid to me.
Father's Day's tomorrow.
Yeah, Father's Day's tomorrow. Call your parents, your dad. Or if you have two dads, call your dads.
Take your dad out to eat. Don't just call him.
Yeah, but I have to call my dad because he's in Mexico.
Yep.
So I'm like, I can't just drive to Mexico.
Well, you
as
can,
much
but
as-
it'd be an 8-hour drive.
As much as I'd like to. I did want to talk about the thing I went through recently.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
which was
I had Bell's palsy for like a few weeks.
what is that again?
It's when you get half of your face gets paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
And it started off as an ear infection. Or what I thought was an ear infection, but there was a lot of swelling in my ear. My ear was swollen shut.
Oh gosh.
And like I just couldn't get any relief and I kept going to the doctors. I went to the emergency room like back to back every day.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you text me how often you were in there.
Yeah, like I couldn't move my face. I looked like I was frowning from half my face and the other side was happy. I looked real scary.
You look like the two theater faces. The
Yeah.
sun.
Look,
Put
I
in
have
one.
it right here. Like literally I look like my tattoo. I don't know, can you see this right here? I look like that face. And I laugh about it now, but it was not funny in the moment.
Yeah.
But apparently Bell's palsy is a reaction to like a virus. Kind of like, okay, you're allergic, for example, to like kiwis,
Mm-hmm.
but your reaction is hives.
Okay.
So it's not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to that. So there was like a viral thing going around and my reaction was the Bell's palsy.
But okay, so remember you had gone in for a root canal, right? And they had initially said that was
That might have been the case.
that caused the ear infection, right? Which
yeah,
can
because the
happen.
nerve is right here.
Yeah.
So they thought that paralyzed my face
Oh, okay.
too. And it was like a lot of back and forth. I had everything that was going wrong with me was on the right side of my face.
Oh, jeez.
So the root canal,
Yeah.
it was the ear,
Yeah.
and then the Bell's palsy. And it just goes to show you, like, don't try to be strong about things. Like, if you feel like I haven't felt this pain before, like, you guys need to go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
This was my PSA for everybody, like, listening, because I initially was like, I'm going to go home, like, it's fine. And my mom was like, no, you don't look fine. You don't look like normal from this side of your face.
Uh-huh.
And it happened like after I had it was a Sunday after the show. I went to go have dinner with my mom
Mm-hmm.
and like I wasn't eating and I'm a fucking fat ass. So she knew something was
Something
wrong.
was up.
She was like, because she knows fuck that shit up. And she's like, something's wrong. So I'm like, I'm fine. And she's like, I think you're having a stroke because I was sweating
Mm-hmm.
a lot and getting dizzy. And she took me and it was the Bell's palsy.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Yeah.
It's painful, right?
It's really
Or it can be?
painful. I felt like I had fire and like weights on the right side of my face.
Oh, man.
And I don't think people know how serious it could be. Like I
Yeah.
could have been worse, but um like luckily like I went to get some therapy.
Mhm.
So it was like acupuncture with a TENS machine.
Nice. Are you on, like, medications
I
too?
was on medications. I was like on 2 rounds of antibiotics and then some steroids, which like bloated me a lot
Yeah.
and I'm like like I guess it's still in my system. So I'm super super dehydrated
Mm.
like all the time. And I'm like my dog used to be on prednisone, which is what they gave me, right? It's the same medicine for dogs and people. And he always used to be so thirsty and I never understood it and like now I empathize. My dog passed away in 2020. Fuck 2020.
R.I.P. Batman.
Yeah. And I like empathize with him for the first time cuz he sits on my room in a little urn and I was like, "I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry those times I forgot to put water." Like cuz he would drink it so quick
Yeah.
like I would literally fill up his bowl like 10 times a day easy. And he would like pee all over the house cuz he was old too.
Right,
And
yeah.
I was like, "Batman, what the fuck?" And then I was like, now I'm like, "Oh, I feel so bad." Like
Well,
he didn't get like in trouble. I was just like, "Batman, come on, you know better." But like I'm like, I feel like a bitch.
I had a teacher in high school. He taught, I think it was, geometry. I think it was I think it was a form of cerebral palsy. His brain stopped communicating with
Cerebral palsy or Bell's palsy?
sorry, Bell's palsy.
Because I'm like they're completely different.
What is cerebral palsy?
I'm not too sure, but I know they're like usually wheelchair
It
bound.
was one of the palsies. And his brain stopped communicating with the muscles in his jaw, so he had basically a block jaw that he had to
That might be Bell's palsy
deal
too.
with for
Yeah, because I got
forever.
locked from here, and then my tongue was numb too, so I couldn't eat.
Gotcha. No, his was permanent, and thankfully that
Yeah.
hadn't happened to you.
No, it didn't get that bad, but I feel like in some cases it could get pretty bad. Like my old boss, I don't want to say his name. He had it pretty bad,
Right.
but he got it like stress induced. You could also get it from stress, which I didn't know. And I was all like, damn, I stress out over everything. I'm a big panicker. I take that from my mom. You know what I mean? Something goes
Yeah.
slightly wrong,
Yep.
I lose
Lose
it.
it.
And
Yep.
you've seen it happen. Like
Mm.
I can't even control. And like on the inside, I know I'm overreacting,
Right.
but I can't stop overreacting. Like everything tiny turns big in my head.
Yep. Yep. I feel the same way. Yeah. I struggle with an anxiety disorder. I think it's pretty common on both sides of my family,
Hmm.
and depression.
I know. I couldn't even inherit money or some shit. Why these bullshit diseases? What the
And
fuck?
inherent mental illnesses.
I know. I'm like, my uncle's schizophrenic. I'm like, he could have that.
But we're mentally chill though.
I feel
I don't
like
think we're
most of the
mentally
time.
ill.
No, pretty mentally ill. I'm pretty mentally ill. I'm all like, sometimes I'm sitting in my room and then I'm like, you need to go for a walk, bitch, because like the thoughts are collecting. Well, like, you know what I mean? Go to therapy, guys. It's important.
So you made it through the show,
Mm-hmm.
even going through that. So we had our final Creatures of Habit comedy show at the State Gallery
And Downey
in Downey, and now we're going to be moving into a bigger uh,
venue.
venue. But I mean, I thought you still did great.
I felt horrible. I didn't even know what was going on with me. At that point, I didn't know. I thought it was my ear infection. Like I felt so bad because as soon as I was done with my set, I was like, I'm out of here. Like I'm gone. I stood outside and I just chatted it up with your grandma. She has a lot to say. We'll get into that in a moment.
I know she does. Love her to death.
But yeah, that was crazy. A lot of my family showed up this time. I let them come.
Dude, half the audience was your family.
I know. I was all like, I didn't want them to come. Like, I'm so scared of what they're gonna say. But they were surprisingly so supportive, and we're
Mhm.
all there for it.
Yep.
Even some friends from high school showed up, so I was all like, I was really surprised to see.
And some from college too, right?
Yeah,
From Cal State Long Beach.
yeah, I was really surprised to see them. I didn't expect to see them there. I was kind of scared after I saw them. I'm not gonna lie, because my family they like chaos, so they're like, we'll go, we'll make it a field trip. I'm like, oh my god, no, please no. But
No,
they all laughed. My mom even laughed at the dirty jokes, and I thought she was gonna beat my ass, my 27-year-old ass.
no, but what was that part in your set where you were like, I don't even know if I should say this. My mom is in the front row.
I said my mom's back there, so yeah, because I was talking. I think I made a reference of people always asking what's wrong with my back,
Yep.
especially during intimate moments. And like to be funny, I like turned back like this, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And my mom was watching, so I was like, "I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die when I get home." I was really scared.
I mean, my family enjoyed it, especially my cousin Kyle.
Yeah, because he vibed with the scoliosis
Yep.
jokes. Um, I'm glad I could reach out to somebody, my fellow robot.
Your fellow droids.
Yeah. It's nice though, because you don't meet a lot of people with like, not all disabilities are visible.
Mm-mm.
So it's kind of like when you use the big restroom and they're like, "You're not disabled." You're like, "How do you know?"
Well, I was gonna say you struggle with that sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
Like if you use your placard, like when you're parking,
Yeah.
people
People
see
give
you,
me
they're
dirty
like, "What?
looks. They look like
You're not
she's
in a
walking.
wheelchair."
She's normal. I'm like, what do you
Right.
want me to have? Like a missing limb? Like, yeah, I'm lucky I have all my limbs, but
Yeah.
I'm also unlucky that I literally have metal rods holding me together.
Two, right?
Yeah. So sometimes like walking a little too far is too much for me. And like Jasmine has seen it happen where I'm like, I literally lay down on the floor. And that used to happen a
I've seen
lot.
that. I've seen that happen.
Yeah, like that used to happen a lot when I was a kid. My mom thought I was just like berrinchuda, like I was throwing
What does
tantrums.
that mean?
Throwing tantrums.
Ah.
Like and being like an ass, like I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But I had back problems, and when she found out, she bought me so many Polly Pockets because she felt like an asshole. Because she's all like, "Oh my god," because she's like, "Parate, yeah," like like get up. Like, why are you doing this? Like, you're grown. And I was like, my back hurts. And she thought I was just like messing with her.
You're
And
like, Mom, my neck and my back.
yeah, and then they took an X-ray, and there's like a candy cane in place of my back. She's like, "Okay, you're forgiven."
I was gonna say, I think maybe for the next one, you got to mention like the Quasimodo,
Well,
the
yeah, I don't
Quasimodo
want to say
joke.
too
No, of course
much.
not. No, but
If you guys want to go, you guys should go to the show
yep.
because I have a lot of funny references for that.
Which, by the way, next one is on Saturday, August 12th, at a new venue. It's going to be at the Epic Lounge, which is literally down the street from the Stay Gallery. And it's awesome because I've known the owner for so many years. I've played music there uh, when I was younger, and we've always kept
Mhm.
a really cool, solid relationship. And he's been to the last few shows at the Stay Gallery, and he was just amazed and really impressed. And he was like, "Let me know whenever you want to, bring it over."
Yeah, he's been real cool because he's been letting you borrow the stage
Yep,
too.
he's been letting me borrow his riser.
And it's cool because now at his spot, he already has a stage set up. No tearing down, no
Dude,
striking, nothing.
he's literally got everything. He's got stages, he's got a sound system, he's got a sound guy, he's got security, he's got two patios,
He's
he's got
got
a full bar,
food.
he's got food, he's got lights. It's like it's so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really grateful that the Stay Gallery was able to provide me a space and a home for the last year.
Shout out to Gabe and
Shout out to Gabe and Juliana at the
mm,
Stay Gallery, and continue to follow them and support local artists. They do amazing things in Downey,
mm-hmm.
and I'm just extremely grateful for all their help and support. And I had a very bittersweet phone call with them in regards to moving to moving to Epic, and they told me since the beginning. They're like, "Alex, please don't take any offense to this, but we don't want you here forever." I was like, "Wait, what?" They're like, "No, no, 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 no. We want the show to grow. We want it to get bigger. So, and as soon as it does, once we've reached capacity, you know, we feel like it's right for you to, move on to a bigger and better space, and, no hard feelings at all. Like we want that for you."
Mm.
And when I was talking, my voice started to crack. I was like, "No, don't say it." I can't.
I'm sure they still come.
No, yeah, no,
And
no.
even like more relaxed too, because they don't have to do
I
anything.
know.
They're
Well,
gonna they get to enjoy the
dude, he
show.
told me, he's like, "Hell yeah, I'm gonna be all relaxed now, and you don't have to tear shit down." And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's gonna be a perfect and sweet uh, move move to this new space, and you're gonna be back.
I am gonna be back for the third
for
time.
the third
I
time.
keep saying I'm not gonna do it again, and I keep doing it to
Telling you,
myself.
man, it's
The bug
addicting.
bit me. Stand-up bug bit me.
Stand-up bug bit you.
I'm
Funny
gonna.
because you're sitting down.
You did. Um, your grandma.
Yeah.
So,
So, mi abuela Abui.
me and Alex have been friends for 9 years, and in that whole time, our families have never met. Surprisingly,
Yeah. Oh,
ever.
a couple have.
Well,
Like
she's
Ellie,
met Ellie.
your sister has met obviously Jasmine and my dad once and
Yeah, but you've met like some of
mom.
my siblings. But I'm saying like our moms had never met,
Right.
or like beyond that, they have never met.
Yep.
And at the show, when I went outside to take a breather because I thought my face was on fire, my mom meets me outside because, she's older. She gets hot flashes. She's like, I need to go outside too. I'm like, shit, me and my mom have more in common than I thought.
You're like, damn it.
And I'm talking to Abui because she made tostadas.
Yep. Which were really good, by the way.
They're so good. And she goes, is that your mom? And I said, yeah. She's all like, well, go bring her over here. I've never met her. And so they get to talking. Can't even say what comes next. Makes my whole body hurt. And then she goes, it's because there's a common theme in my and Alex's life.
Oh,
She's like, oh, they should come over here. And they're like, look at them. Look at these two kids. They do everything together. She's telling my mom. They're all like, they do the podcast together. They film the web series together. They're always hanging out together. They eat together. Every time I call him, he's with her. They're like, maybe they should just have together and have children because I really want to have grandchildren with curly little hair. And my mom, throughout this whole thing, she's just like, huh? She's all like, no, they're friends. Like, they love each other, but like siblings. She's like, yeah, that's what Alex says too, but I don't think it's true.
What did she say about legs?
Oh, she said, because she's all like, my mom's like, no, it's not even like that. Like, Alex sleeps over the house and it's like, it's chill. And she's like, oh.
She's like, oh, he
She
sleeps
sleeps over the house. She's all like, one day you're going to find them all tangled up. And you're going to wonder how you have grandchildren. And my mom was like, what? She's like, where's this coming from? Because it's true. You have slept over. My mom sees our dynamic and it's like a sibling dynamic.
Yeah, it's a sibling
It's not
dynamic.
like that at all. But that's been the running theme throughout our whole friendship. And even recently, Marcelo.
Dude.
Which you guys will meet soon.
Oh my God. Those guys will not let it down. I mean, I don't understand how two people of the opposite sex can't have a platonic, relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. As soon as they see a guy hanging out with a girl, they immediately think that, something's going on.
I'm like, the only thing going on is a lot of pizza fries.
A lot of pizza burgers.
A lot of Thai food. A lot of burgers. A lot of canes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to tell them. You can't even convince them otherwise because they're fully convinced. Even Charlie for a while, I think.
Charlie was, but he's let it go.
He's let it go because he sees who I am.
Yeah. Marcelo has not. Love him to death. Saw him perform last night, by the way, and he did amazing. Our friend / boss, we all work together. Again, we work at this music company, and so after work, we all went to go see him play at the State Social House last night. And I mean, I've seen him perform many times. Every time I see him, he still blows me away. And that was the first time our friend had ever seen him, and he brought his girlfriend too, and he was just amazed. He was like, that dude can
say his
belch.
name?
Yeah.
M?
Yeah,
Right?
Moses.
Moses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Moses is a homie. Probably one of the only few bosses I've ever really enjoyed working with. I'm never like, oh, I don't want to work with him.
But also because he's young and he gets it. Like, he knows your life doesn't revolve around this job and
No.
no job should. Like, you also need to have a balance of like work and life. Because I feel like when you make your whole like personality about your job,
Yeah.
you just become such a one-dimensional person. You get
Take it
stressed.
too
You
serious.
yes. And you get depressed because you're like, this is all I know. This is all I'm in control of. And that's why, because it's the only thing you're in control of, you start acting bossy in that space.
And you start
Like you own the freaking company.
being a dick to the new guys, to the new girls.
And it's like, what for?
Yep.
Like at the end of the day, you clock out. That place shouldn't exist.
That's what we were talking about last night. Like, because we were having this conversation, and like, there are people that have been there, for years and years, and they're like, oh, well, it's probably because they've been there for so long that they feel like,
Entitled.
It's like, yeah, but Moses has been working there for for like 12 years, and he's never ever been condescending to me or to like anyone else I've ever seen.
But Moses gives me that vibe. Like he's chill. He's there to work and like leave.
Yeah, no, super cool guy. Did you ever have any cool like bosses?
My current boss.
Your current one?
I love her. I'm like, I don't know if I'll get in trouble if I say her name, but her name is that of a car. We'll call her Benz. Um, you know,
It's her
and
last name. Wink.
yeah, and she's really cool. Like she always allows me to put my mental health first. Like there's some times where it could be mentally draining just to be in retail in general.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you need from me? And I've never had a boss ask me that before. It's always like, you need to show up. I don't care if your grandma died. I don't care if you got
Right.
like,
I don't care if you died.
I don't care if
You
you
still
die.
need to show
You
up.
still need to show up. And it's crazy because I used to work at a wing spot, popular wing spot, and like they didn't care what happened. Like you needed to be there.
Yep. I
And
remember. I worked there too.
and they sucked because they would black out Christmas and like festival days, like festival weekends, so you couldn't request them off.
Jeez.
And I'm all like, Starbucks doesn't do that. They'll just borrow partners
Oh,
from another
name
store.
drop.
Oh, yeah, they did. Well, I'm speaking good about them. I'm not defaming them. I'm like, they don't do that. They try to accommodate to your needs as much as possible. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we also get like free therapy sessions, like 20 free therapy sessions
Really?
in a year, 24. So I'm all like, thank you. It's killing me, but it's also keeping me alive, that job. It's very contradicting.
So she's been a good boss.
Yeah.
Uh
T is a good boss too,
T.
from the wing place.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He's
Yeah,
a
he
great
was a good guy.
boss. The other bosses, not so much.
Well, I remember my first day there. I forget it. Yeah, doesn't matter. She's one of the managers. I get there, and she had this like attitude. She's like, "So, who's training you today?" I'm like, "I have no idea. I literally just walked in." And then she like walked away, and I was so lost.
I know. And then I clock in and you're like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, well, where's your trainer? And they're like, I don't know. They don't know where they're at. And I
It-
was so mad
Yeah,
because
it
they
was
just
so
put you.
disorganized.
I put you like, I'm like, do you just want to clean? And you're like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Because I'm all like, I don't know what they're supposed to have like this booklet for you to be doing.
Yep.
And there was no
I,
booklet.
I didn't do that until hours and hours later. It was
Should've-
like by the time I had to go home, they're like, "Here, work on
God.
this pamphlet."
This is like
Okay.
a funny story, a little sidetrack, but about that boss. She she had this Toyota Corolla that she installed curtains in with tension rods. And during her break, she would hanky panky with the bartender in there. And one day, me and my sister were in the car because there was a BJ's across the street, across the parking lot. And so
It
we
definitely
were
was BJ's.
we were eating a Pizookie in the car, me and my sister, because we like to eat in the car and like prop our phone up and watch a show in like the parking lot
Yeah.
places. And then we see the car shaking. We're like, oh, that's her car. And we see her get out and she's like buttoning her shirt. And like the guy she was with was like 6'5". So it looked like Mr. Incredible when he gets out of the car, that big ass man out of that tiny car. And I was like, oh.
And she's tiny too.
And she's tiny too. She's like a little thing. It was funny as hell though.
But they got caught, right? They were fired.
They got caught. They both got fired.
Serves them right.
It was kind of hilarious. I always secretly wish it was like a reality TV show there, because I would have loved to see like the filming, the drama, all behind it. It would be hilarious. I was like, we had some topics that slipped my mind.
Oh, you were telling me about a reoccurring dream you've been having.
Oh my God.
Which was
So these past 2 weeks, I've been having this reoccurring dream that I'm pregnant and I already have an existing child. And in my dream, I'm just so stressed out. I'm like, how am I going to have time to film the podcast? That's all I'm thinking in the frontal part of my brain. How am I going to like have time to film the web series? How did I get pregnant in the first, who's this first kid? Like, I have 2 kids and it's crazy to me because I'm like, I don't even want kids. Like, where did he come from? It stresses me out, the idea of having kids, because I don't want any kids. Like
Right.
everybody's like, you're at the ripe age of 27. I was like, so.
Yeah, I think by 28, my parents had 2 kids already and a house. But this was the early 90s.
I know where everything was like $5. I'm
Everything was
like, it's different.
$5.
It's different now.
College was $2. Gas was 50 cents.
I'm all like, it's different now. Like it's so hard to have a stable job. Everything's competitive. And like if stable jobs were easy to get, everybody would have one.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And right now I feel like the number one thing I've been craving is like stability. Like, and I think that's why I have these dreams where I'm really unstable. I don't know if it's like my mind giving me a wake up call, like
Mhm.
you need to like be more proactive, like about looking for a job and stuff like that.
Right, could be.
Because I felt so stuck and that gave me so much anxiety. Because one of my like worst fears is not to progress. Like I always want to make sure I'm always learning something new.
Right, excelling,
Yeah,
progressing.
I don't feel comfortable
Yep.
with being like in one spot my whole life. So I take classes, I read books that I normally wouldn't read. I always want to be like one step ahead. Like I
Mhm.
don't like being like complacent.
Mhm.
That's like I hate that.
I know. Yeah, I get the same feeling too.
And so I think having that dream knowing like I'm going to be stuck here cuz I mean when you have kids, I feel like a lot of people can progress, but in my dream I couldn't progress. Like I was stuck at Starbucks trying to provide for 2 children with the baby daddy nowhere in sight. I didn't even know who he was. I don't know if that makes me a hoe or my dream was just like random, you know? And I was just like I can't do that.
Did you ever get the actor's nightmare?
We forget shines.
When you forget, yeah. So if you don't know, the actor's nightmare is you have a dream where you're on stage in front of an audience, and all of a sudden, you have no idea what you're doing up there. You have no idea what you're gonna say. You don't know your lines,
Mm.
and then you like wake up. I used to get those a lot. I get them sometimes, but my current one is where I'm in my car and I'm in traffic and all of a sudden it just starts to move without me, punching the gas, and I'm like crashing into people's cars. And I feel like I had no control. And then I wake up like
Do you
in like
think
sweat,
that's because you feel out of control in your real life?
probably. Certain aspects I do feel I'm in control in.
Yeah.
Um but that's life. I don't think we can always be in control. Stuff gets thrown at us constantly.
I
We
think
always.
yeah, I'm sorry for
No,
interrupting.
no, no, no. You're
I'm
good.
like, I think because I'm such a control freak that not being in control makes me crazy.
Mm,
Like I need things to turn out a certain way and sometimes when they don't turn out the way I want them to, like in my head I have a way of things playing out a certain way
yeah.
and then they don't turn out that way and like it frustrates me.
Right. You get disappointed and you. Yep.
It's kind of like when I was drawing our logo and in my head I was like it's going to be so beautiful. I'm tracing. It's going to be fine. And they look like they've been ran over and slapped with a cast iron. Like they look so ugly.
But you know what? It's our current logo on our Apple Podcast and
Spotify.
Spotify account.
And
I
YouTube.
did one too. But I just thought yours was so much better and perfect for
Oh
for
my
what we're doing.
God.
Do you have any recurring dreams, Solomon?
Moi,
Yes.
We
you know, here I'll put a camera on if you guys don't mind.
Yes,
See.
please.
go for it.
Hello. Um, I don't. My recurring dreams are weird because it's not so much that it's one dream. It's just that my brother's always there with me, and
Oh,
I
okay.
don't see my brother much. He lives in on the east side of California, and
Mhm.
he's had some substance abuse issues, and he's sort
Oh
of going
no.
through that, and so we haven't really been able to be brothers for a long time, for several years.
Mm.
But in my dream, no matter what I'm doing, it's like, oh, my brother's in the other room. He doesn't like really make an appearance. You just know he's there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so it's crazy, but it gives me hope that eventually, like, we're going to eventually be
See
able to
each other
connect
and
again, just on a level where we can be brothers. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Because if you deal with anybody in your family with substance abuse,
Mhm.
you only get to deal with this amount of them. The rest of it belongs to everything else that they've got going on, and you don't want to be a part of that. And so it's very
Yeah.
difficult to have that relationship. But I like I said, I feel hope because he's always in my dream. No matter what I'm doing, I could be falling out of a plane or, I don't know, riding a horse or whatever. Oh, my brother's
And
here.
he's there.
He's somewhere. And so that's probably the closest to recurring dream that I
Right.
have.
Brings you the comfort of seeing him.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Man, that's deep.
Yeah, that is.
I
Um,
feel that though. It is really hard. I have a couple siblings who one of them currently dealing and one of them who dealt with substance abuse. And it's true because you see glimpses of things that you remember and things that made it like I hate to say it this way, tolerable to be around them.
mhm.
But then like there's like a switch that flips and then I just can't be there. I don't think I could be there for my mental health. And sometimes I feel selfish for not being able to be in that space.
Yeah.
But like I have to do it for me because I feel like I can't say the sibling because my family will roast me, but this sibling brings out the absolute worst in me. Like things that I wouldn't normally say or do, like I feel like doing it.
Mhm.
And it's hard, but you can't help anybody. They have to start by wanting to help themselves,
Right.
truly.
Right. Yeah, no, I think we've had some people in our family dealing with substance abuse, but I mean nothing to what you have described to me.
Mm-mm.
Like that just seemed really intense.
Yeah, it can be.
Um,
Especially when they think nothing's wrong with them.
yeah.
They're like, I'm fine. You're the problem. Everybody hates me.
Yeah.
Nobody loves me. Nobody this. You don't support me. If you were a real family, you would be here with me through thick and thin. But like the thick is really thick.
Yeah.
The thick is too thick. Like I absolutely cannot.
Yeah.
Like I'm like I already have my own demons breathing down my back, and then I have to take care of somebody. I can't do that.
Yeah, see, that's why like I do inevitably want kids, but then sometimes like I get those thoughts where it's like, well, I hope they don't have this. I hope they don't get this. I hope,
Yeah, but you can't look at life
Yeah.
and saying what if, like I doubt my mom when she had her children, she thought she was gonna have problems. You know what I mean? Not that she would ever call them a problem. She loves all her kids equally,
Yeah.
well, unfortunately.
Some more than others.
But no, she loves us all equally, unfortunately. I'm like, love me more, mom. I deserve it. I mean, you not see what the other ones have put me through? Like, I need it. Come on.
I need that.
I need that. I sounded like Moira.
Dude, baby,
The bebe.
I said the whitest shit today
Before we got off the car.
before we got on the call.
God.
I was
Don't say it, Alex.
I really like, so I don't know why I'm already like thinking about this, but if I have boys, I want to name one of them Elijah.
Mhm.
Elijah Carone. I think that sounds really cool. Sounds like a blues guitarist.
Okay.
Elijah Carone.
Yeah.
The other one,
No.
I
God.
like the
Brace yourself, Solomon.
I like the name Indiana.
That's what I
I
said.
don't know about that. Indiana.
Indiana Carone.
I tell them I have an issue with like location names. Like, you know how many
Phoenix.
phoenixes I've met, and it makes me angry.
Who did you say you met recently?
Sedona.
Sedona.
I met a Sedona. And I'm like, why? Why would you do this to your children? Is it like, did you get married in that spot? Did you consummate your love in that spot? And that's where that baby came from? Like, there has to be a deeper meaning because who just goes, well, you apparently just goes, I'm gonna name my kid after a location. I'm gonna name my kid France. Like, I don't know.
And remember, someday you're gonna have to tell that story. Dad, Mom, how did you name me? What was the inspiration? You have to tell that story. And you can't just say.
Well, I
"Just
gotta be like, well,
because."
one of my
Indiana
one of my
Jones.
favorite characters
I
is
put my
Indiana Jones.
put my finger on a map, and there you were.
Well, I am a big fan of the character Indiana Jones. Yeah, I've always loved those movies as a kid, and I'm excited for the fifth one.
That explains all the Lukes in the world. Somebody's favorite movie,
And the
probably.
Vaders? Are there any Vaders?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was actually supposed to be originally named Zachary. I was gonna be Zachary Carone. I think that's what my dad wanted, but my mom liked Alexander. And then my dad wanted to, so I was telling you this earlier. So there's a tradition in my family where, so my grandfather is Jack Carone, and then all his kids have the initials JC. So my dad's Joseph Crown, Gene Carone, Jeff Carone, so on and so forth. But my dad decided not to go that route with me. But my grandfather's middle name is Peter, and so is my dad's. So they kept that tradition, but instead of calling me Peter in English, I'm Peter in French, which is Pierre. Imagine Zachary Pierre Carone.
That's some wild ass name.
That's some cracker ass cracker shit.
Well, at least
What were you gonna be?
I was gonna be Camila.
Camila?
Yeah. I don't think I look like a Camila. She sounds like a nice girl. I am a raging bitch.
Priscilla.
No, okay, so my mom named me Priscilla after a child bride, Priscilla Presley. She just loved Elvis so much, and she couldn't name me Elvis, so Priscilla.
She
there it
married
was.
him at 13, right?
Just 14.
14.
And then, funny enough, there is an actress named Edith Gonzalez,
Eddie?
a Mexican. Yeah, her name was like Edith Gonzalez.
Oh, Edith.
And so that's my middle name, Edith Gonzalez, because my dad thought she was hot. And now that's my name. After a child bride and a hot actress.
Were you named after anyone or?
There's a little bit of a discrepancy between my mom and my dad. My mom says Solomon came from the Bible,
Right.
whereas my dad says it's more Suleiman, which comes from the Quran.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
and then they fight about it.
Is
you know.
your father Muslim?
He was doing some Muslim stuff at the time.
Some Muslim stuff?
Yeah, he's sort of a religious nomad, put it that way.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
And your mom's Christian?
Uh,
Ish.
no, but everybody, the Bible's sort of the default. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Mhm.
that was her thing. But my daughter, I named my daughter after a character in an audiobook.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah, and I just like the name. It was I forget the name of the book, so forgive me, but it was a doctor who was with Doctors Without Borders or something, and the doctor's name was Zia, Z-I-A.
I like
Zia.
that.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
and so that's what I named my daughter. Of course, we later find out it's the symbol for New Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you see the
On the
like
flag?
it's like
Uh-huh.
the circle, and then you have the lines on all four
It's
sides.
a
It's
Native
called
American symbol,
yeah, it's
right?
called a Zia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah,
That's
so
cool.
that's been interesting. So people, my wife had it tattooed on her arm. So
Oh,
people
that's
were like, "Are you
awesome.
from New Mexico?" And, no, we're not. We have nothing to do with New
Oh,
Mexico.
no, a
but there
location
you go.
name.
But it's technically not a location.
Not a location, it's a
Technically
symbol.
not.
But see,
It's a
I'm not
symbol
the
for
only
a location.
I'm not the only one who wants to name their kids after a character.
That one was nicer. I've never heard of that before. I like it. I just think about anytime you name somebody, I think of like the spelling of it and what it looks like when you sign it. And if it looks pretty, I'm like,
Right.
it's a vibe.
Well, that's why I like Eli. Like, well, yeah, short for
Elijah.
Yeah. I like I'm not religious. Grew up in a Christian Catholic family. But my dad and I watched the movie The Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. I loved that movie. And I always thought how cool that name sounded. Again, another movie character.
That was a good movie too.
That was a really
I
good
mean,
movie.
yeah, you're into dystopian futures, which of course I am.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that was Denzel. That was Mia Kunis, and Gary Oldman as the evil
Wait, Mia or Mila?
Mia.
Mila
Oh, is it me?
Kunis.
What did I say?
Mila Kunis, right? The one that's married to Ashton Kutcher?
Did I say Mia?
You
You
said
said
Mia.
Yeah.
Oh, oops. Yeah,
It's
Mila.
I
Mila
was like, who's
Kunis.
Mia Kunis?
Well, her too. It was her stunt double.
I was like, I love how you guys talk about things to name your children. I'm like, I want to name my future golden retriever Waffles. It's my only dream because I like waffles, and it's the same shade.
And your cat Pancakes.
Okay, so
and
I
your-
didn't say this in the last podcast, but I actually have a cat named Reba because she's a single mom with 2 kids. So I named her Reba, and then I think I saw last time that me and Adrian were singing was it the intro
theme,
song?
Yeah, the theme song.
Theme song for
Yep.
Reba, and I'm all like, it's funny because I have a cat named Reba,
Yeah.
and the little kids. There's I named them Tyler, like Tyler the Creator,
Uh-huh.
the rapper,
Yep.
the spotted one, and the other one's name is Midnight.
Patches. Did you have
Patches?
Patches too.
No, Patches is not a baby though.
Oh,
Patches is
okay.
the big one.
Patches is a big one.
Yeah. He's needy though. He came in the house. Sin vergüenza, dude. He walked in and he's all like, oh, this is nice. You guys sleep here? He was
Oh,
rubbing
there's
himself on the
beds.
couches. I'm like, you're homeless. Get out. Like, I feed you sometimes.
You're not a regular.
No, I'm afraid that he has like fleas, and I'm like really sensitive to fleas.
Yep.
But I feed him because I feel bad, and he like chirps. You know when cats go, "Cluck, cluck, cluck,
Yep.
cluck, cluck," so I can feed him, and I feel really bad. So
We adopted a stray. His name is Twilight. It's a black cat, and I originally wanted to name him um, Binks from the movie Hocus Pocus.
which would be
Uh,
so cool.
yeah,
He has the
but
big eyes like him
he
too.
has huge eyes, and dude, he's the sweetest thing. I'll get off work late, or even just coming home late from somewhere, and so he likes to live in the garage. We have a bed for him. We have his food and water there for him. We're all like pretty, almost like deathly allergic to cats, but I've grown immune to him just because I've been around him for so long now. But it's really cute. He does this thing where I park my car. As soon as I open my door, he's like right there, and he looks up at me. He's like meow. And I'm like, hey, buddy, close the door, and he walks me to the front door. And sometimes, like when he's walking next to me, he'll like tap my leg with
Yeah,
his like paw, and he'll like look up at me like, hey,
like I'm right
I'm right
here.
here. And then he'll walk me to the door. Sometimes he'll go in, and like I'll let him through the patio, and he goes to his bed. Or sometimes he's just, s- s- standing outside, looking out for coyotes because of the riverbed. That's right next to
He's
us.
sweet though, and
He's
then
sweet.
I think it took a while for like cats to grow on me
Yeah.
because I like clingy animals. That's why I love dogs so much
Right.
because they'll be like, "Let me lie on you," and I
Right.
love that. I love cuddling
Nothing but
dogs.
cuddles.
And but the cat that I have, it's so funny because anytime I come home from work, because I work like at 5 in the morning, get off like at 11,
Hmm.
he hears the gate open of me pulling it in, and I could see him running like this because the food's coming. He's just like, right, and it's like the funniest thing to watch.
Aw.
Like sometimes I like open the gate really hard on purpose just to see him do that
Yeah,
because it's
that's really
hilarious. It
cute.
looks like a little puma.
Do you have any pets, Solomon?
I do. I have a dog and a cat.
What are their names?
The cat's name is Fifi, but I just call her Cat. Uh, but her actual name is Fiona,
Fiona?
But and then the
Fiona.
dog's name is Mojo.
Mojo?
Mojo.
Yeah,
What?
he's a little like it's funny. The funny story is that he was supposed to be a Maltipoo, and
Oh.
so I went all the way out into the middle of the BF Egypt to get this dog. Met some sketchy old lady at a abandoned gas station, and she gives us the puppy. He was all black, right? Black, little white, little thing. Well, take him home. We do all this stuff, In a few months, we take him and get his hair cut.
Hmm.
We go to pick him up, and it's a whole different dog. It's like gray. He's got some brown in him. It
Oh,
got some
whoa.
white, and it's like, did they like shoe polish this dog or something?
He's a
And
true mutt.
so and so now he's not a Maltipoo. He's probably like this big. He's a great
Yeah.
dog, but he's not what we thought. So I'm glad I didn't overpay for him.
Yeah, because Maltipoos are tiny.
Right, they're supposed to be tiny, right?
They
Mm.
look like the tall version of a tiny, like okay, you remember Fofi, that big one?
Uh-huh.
They look like that, but tinier, like a shrunk version.
With the shitload of hair
Yeah,
still.
they had like curly hair, no?
Yeah. The ones I've actually seen that are supposedly yes, Maltipoos. They have curly hair.
Yeah, and they're tiny. They're so cute. I get those through the window all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, remember that? We were going through a drive-through. I think it was there.
I know
And
where
I
this is
was
going.
I was leaning. I had the chair all the way back. I
Reclined.
was reclined all the way back, and what did she say?
Okay, I was getting my coffee. I was paying. We were I could say because I don't work there. We were at Coffee Bean, and the girl was all like, "Oh my god, what a cute puppy!" Starts freaking out, and I go, "What puppy?" Alex reclines his chair forward, and it was just him. I think he had like really big hair back then because you used to let it grow out more.
Yeah,
So not only did she think you were a dog, she thought you were a cute dog.
I'll take that.
Ooh.
Wow.
I'll take that.
It was so funny. She couldn't recover from it. She kept backtracking.
I
She
wa-
was just like, I'm sorry. I thought, I'm like, it's okay.
I wonder if she's still working there.
Probably not. She probably quit that day. I would.
She's like, I just called a human a dog.
So that's like the time I was working at the wing place, and I didn't want to give this lady a beer because she appeared to look very pregnant. Like even her belly button seemed to be popping out.
Yeah.
So I was just like, are you sure you want a beer? And then we're not allowed to
She's
ask
like,
that.
give me a
But,
beer toots.
but I was like 18 or 19, so I'm like, I didn't know better. And then
But you also weren't allowed to serve, right? Or
I
can
mean, I
you
was a server.
at 18?
I was a server, so I was.
You can serve beer at
You-
18.
Right. Okay. You have to have that
Yeah, you have to fill out like
B-
that,
the B&A card or something like that.
something like that. I haven't worked there in years, so I
Yeah.
don't remember. But I know we had to do something equivalent to like that food handler's card, but for
You're
beer.
right.
And yeah, and then she yelled at me. I mean, I deserved it, but I really thought she was preggers, and I was like,
She wasn't.
she wasn't. But she kept rubbing her belly like this and holding her back like that.
So
So I was
you
like,
said you sure you want a beer because you're pregnant? Like, did you
no,
say the word?
I said, I don't feel comfortable serving you beer because you're pregnant.
Ah.
No, what was the other one? That's what she said.
That's what she said to you.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
What kind of shit is that?
I'm surprised I didn't get my shit rocked that day. Like I totally should have. I mean, it's the equivalent of when this old man called me sir 2 days ago.
What?
He's all like, I was taking his order, and I don't think I sound like masculine at all.
No.
And he said, "Oh, that would be all, sir. Thank you." And I thought maybe like, oh, it was like probably for like habit, whatever. Gets to the window, gets his drink, and he goes, "Thank you, sir." He doubled down.
He's like, thanks, man.
He doubled down, and that's the
Thanks,
last
dude.
time I go to work without makeup. Because I was just like, I don't think I look masculine at all, even when I don't wear makeup or sound masculine.
No.
But I mean, I'm confident in who I am. But I was just like, are you okay? Your glasses fogged up a little today, sir. You, the sir.
You. We got a lot of good feedback with the last podcast with our friend Adrian.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we really,
good.
yeah.
People are loving him.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing but nice things to say. A lot of people reached out to me and told me that they loved how knowledgeable he was.
Yeah, that they
Um,
learned a lot.
That they learned a lot. My sister's like, I think I want to be a filmmaker now. I'm like, relax. She picks up a lot of hobbies and then she drops them. I'm like, yeah, he is knowledgeable. That's why we picked him. Because he's so interesting to us, and we love the way he works and how passionate he is.
Yeah.
And that was like the initial thing we wanted for this podcast, is that we want passionate people
Yeah.
to be on. Like, I was having this conversation with my sister, which she said she's going to talk to us later, whatever that means. And she was saying that, like, the same thing I told you last time, like, we need to have kind of exclusivity with the people that we bring on, because if we just
Mhm.
bring anybody on, then what makes this podcast special? You know what I mean? And I
thought
feel
everyone was special.
no, not everybody. I'm like, not everybody. I'm like, I mean, there's a few people that you even mentioned earlier that we would never have on. I'm not gonna say that name. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
I think so.
Um,
Awkward.
but no, it's not awkward. But I do want people to look up to this podcast as an inspiration. Like, I want them to feel good. Like, people listen to the podcast, like my sister's coworkers, and they left feeling good about it. Like, oh, I wish I had a hobby, or maybe I need to put more time
Oh,
into
that's
my
awesome.
thing. Not necessarily into film, but they're like, I want to,
Right.
I need to set aside a time for what I actually want. Like, I need to push forward. This guy spoke with, like, so much conviction, confidence, and like you can truly tell he loved what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if there's any takeaway from that, is like, I want people to feel like that every time.
Right.
They listen to one of our guests on, or anything that we do.
Right.
Like, I want them to feel confident about it and like go for it. Because even I think we were talking, and my family talked to you, and they said they were surprised I even started doing stand up, because I was such a shy kid.
That you started doing stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm all like, anybody could do it. Like, you just have to really just put those demons aside and then just go for it. Because I feel like everybody's capable of doing things like that.
Yeah. Speaking of which, how do you feel you did on the last one?
I feel like I didn't do that great.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
I just didn't feel good.
Oh,
Like,
well.
I physically didn't feel good. And also, I started to notice the paper a lot. So that bothered me.
Yeah.
What's the paper? Your notes or something?
Yeah, because I have my whole, I didn't read off it, but the fact that I was swinging it around the whole time was very distracting. I think I got stuck like maybe like a total of 3 times,
Mhm.
and I just like looked really quick, and then I didn't read off it.
See, like, I know some people have an issue with that, so, like, I like musicians, they have their set list, nearby them. If they forget, they, take a look at it real quick and they know, "Okay, we've got this song up next." Same thing
Yeah.
with stand-up. I think it's okay to have, notes, place it on the stool. If you forget your next joke, take your water, look at it real quick, got it. Bam. Move on to the next one. I
Mhm.
don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some people do, some people don't. But in this case, you had your whole paper out,
Mhm.
right?
Swinging that thing. Just like
So then on those huge comedy specials with somebody like a Kevin Hart or somebody, do you think they have like a teleprompter or something that they look at, or you think they just know their set so well they
I
just
don't
memorize
know.
them?
I think they just know their set so well that
Mm.
they don't need to. That they practice and practice and practice, done it over and over and over again. But I mean, I haven't been to a live, taping of a special, so I don't know. I would assume that they know it by heart.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with having some notes. Place it on your stool. Look at it every now and then. But
I mean, Jason, he's one of those people that has no plan.
oh man,
And he always kills.
yeah,
No plan. He walks into a room and he's like, okay. One time he
feels it
did,
out.
yeah, like one time he did 2 shows back to back, like in 2 different rooms in the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he did his thing and he's like, I'm gonna grab a drink. He's like, oh, it's time for my next one. Like nothing,
He's like,
walks
yeah,
in
you guys want to go to the next one? Oh, okay.
and he just like kills it. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I would be like sweating, but it's probably because I'm really new to it.
Right. Granted, he's been doing it, 25 years or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm still fairly new to it. I'm still learning. You know, I'm still learning. So yeah, don't beat yourself up about it. But yeah, I
But I
think
need to
yeah,
get rid of that paper,
get rid
especially
of the
because
paper,
I started introducing like a little bit of character work into my sets.
which I keep telling her to bring it back every time.
It's because I have I tell them that sometimes I feel like there's this demon that lives with me that's like really mean to me. You know how we all have that like shoulder
Angel
angel
and
and like
demon.
shoulder devil that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
tells you you're not good enough. And I kind of sometimes like I actually like I don't know what you would call it.
Hmm.
Act it like through.
Hmm.
Like what would happen if I acted that way?
Right.
Sometimes I do those things in the car and I'm like, this would be funny for my set. And
Yeah,
then I finally tried it and it worked.
and it worked. She's got to do it more often. Jessica Kirsten is a comedian that sort of does that, but she doesn't do a demon voice. She raises her pitch, but she like turns away from the audience and speaks into the mic, and it's like her inner voice
Hmm.
speaking to her, but out loud, and it's the most hilarious thing. And I think Priscilla's got a really good, quote unquote, good character voice for
Yeah.
that, and I think you should embrace it more.
It's funny because when you found her, I didn't realize that we were so similar in
Yeah.
comedy
Oh
style.
yeah, that's why I kept sending you her clips. I think she's hilarious, and I think you guys have some similarities in your humor. But yeah, I think
That
that
about
wraps
does
up
it.
episode 3. Anything you got coming up soon?
Just the show with you.
Yeah.
We are working on editing that episode that's been taking years, not years, but months to edit. Adrian, so kind and gracious to
Teach
give
us how
us
to
a
edit.
little lesson on how to edit. That way things could get pushed out faster.
Yep. So Saturday, August 12th, we're live at the Epic Lounge in Downey.
June 30th.
June 30th, I'm at the Stand Up Club in Bellflower. Come to that. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Nice.